Hi, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about a funny manifestation story and explain how we are the cause of everything that happens in our world. I want to take you through what I did, what happened, and why I'm making this video suddenly in the first place. So before we get into this, just hit the like button if you want other people to see videos like this. That's basically in short, and let's just get right into it. So I was recording a video a few days ago. I haven't released it yet, and the video was talking about how you can get out of sticky situations. Okay, so in this case I was talking about, and this video will still come out, but I want to release this first. This video is talking about someone who sent me one of their stories about how they were going to go on vacation, but they had an exam instead. They paid for an Airbnb. They couldn't go anymore, and they ended up imagining that they got out of it, and that house, the day they were supposed to go, the house had a plumbing problem, and the guy got his money back. Well, in that story, I was talking about a time when I had gotten out of criminal charges. So back in 2016, I got arrested for possession of controlled dangerous substance, right? And now, a part of my story, if you've watched my videos from back in 2010 and sporadically for years after, I had struggled with substance abuse. And the reason I got into manifesting itself was to save my own life. So whereas the objective of learning manifestation for me wasn't to achieve money, it wasn't to achieve wealth or fame, it was just to save my life because I had a disease which would not allow me to stop getting drunk and high. So anyway, despite all that, eventually I finally figured out how to master manifestation. I've talked a little bit about this in my 10K subscriber story. I think it's just called My Story, by the way, and a lot of videos and emails and things of this nature talking about my past. And so while I was recording this video about this person who had manifested himself out of the vacation and getting his money back, I also referenced upon that getting into trouble back then. And even for me myself, I had manifested myself out of trouble, meaning the court, everything was dropped, right? Years later, right? Because I left all that stuff behind, cleaned up my act, got everything together, began to manifest properly, and then manifested myself out of that issue. Well, the funny thing is today I woke up and I saw a comment. So while I was digging through, right, so what I do is sometimes I'll map out my lectures, okay? I'll take a notepad or a Word document, and I'll type the name of the title, I'll type, and then I'll type the outline, the description, and then sometimes I'll put a quote on there as well. And while doing this, while referencing this court case that I had, while writing it down, I began to contemplate whatever happened to that mugshot, because that was the only time I had been arrested that they actually put me on in public. And so I started to contemplate this idea, and I started to look through my laptop temporarily. I hit command space and typed in mugshot. I typed in Joseph Alai to see if anything was on my computer. Anyway, in the end, I concluded that it was on my old hard drive and my own old laptop that's broken. I left it at that. Well, that is really funny, because what I did there was I set an intention inadvertently by using a strong desire to imagine that I had obtained that mugshot. And then I let it go, which is textbook how to manifest. And so this morning when I woke up and I went online, I saw someone posted a picture. Someone had actually dug through 3 years, they probably even more than that, 4-5 years of news articles. They probably tracked down where I lived in the past. This person had a lot of time on their hands, obviously, but tracked down where I lived, looked through all the records of that town, and finally found this mugshot of me and posted it in my YouTube channel. And so at first I was like, oh, how dare they? And then I was like, oh, dude, you moron. I am the one that manifested it. And so what this means is that all things, right? We can put blame and attack and argue with and be mad at someone else for hurting our feelings. But in the end, it is only ourselves who has set this into motion. And so really what I did was a textbook style to manifest finding this old mugshot of myself just because I had allowed it to bounce within my head, just because I was making a video on how to get yourself out of predicaments. And so I wanted to share that story with you, but I wanted to kind of touch base on how you can utilize that same exact thing that I brought folly to myself, right? Proving the context of everything that I've said, that I've mastered my way out of the sickness that I was in, out of poverty, out of homelessness, right? If you've been watching my videos and following along, then you'll see that, and even if you just look me up, you can look up my history. I say sometimes my past is not white as snow. You will find that manifestation is the only way for me personally to have gotten out of the trouble that I was in, or out of the problems that I was in. For me personally, I've had a lot of friends, probably 30 or 40 by this point, and so on, and that continue, that have passed away, unfortunately, through the opioid epidemic in the East Coast, in the East Coast of the United States, pardon me, as a lot of you probably are aware of. And a lot of them didn't get out alive. And so for me, I'm super grateful that I discovered manifesting at an early age. No, I didn't master it right away. I didn't simply just snap my fingers and get everything that I wanted. But over the years, right, it was either I was going to die, my back was pushed against the wall, or I was going to find a way to figure out how to fix this and how to manifest myself into a better way of living. So interestingly enough, I was talking to my father, and we were reminiscing about probably back in 2013 about how I lived with him for a short time there, and I used to just roam around at this place called the Gun Show, right, which is basically just a big open field, probably 500 acres near where he lived, and just read these books and listen to these audio tapes of first the Bible, then Law of Attraction, and then years and years later it was Neville Goddard. And he remembers me trying so hard to get this, right, to figure this out. And so for me personally, it wasn't instantly that I was able to just grasp manifestation and figure it out, right? There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of struggle. There's a lot of ego battles with what information is right and what's wrong. The best advice I can give is to systematically test what works and what doesn't work, instead of going from what one person says versus what the other person says. But so having given you that story, I want to give you some practical advice as to how to utilize this that I utilized for my own folly today and to your advantage. So really what you do is, if you want something, no matter what you want, and remember, you're doing this whether you like it or not, and whoever's acting in your life is acting in sense based on your assumptions as well. We're all essentially interlinked. So you take what you want and you imagine as if you already have it. If you use in your imagination, if you really experience having it, if you express that extreme desire and convert that into an imaginal act, then by the time you let go of the thing that you're thinking about, right, best case scenario is you forget about it afterwards, and you will watch how that desire and that imaginal act pulled back is like a slingshot when let go, and your desire will come to you. And people who are unwittingly or don't even know that they're playing a part will play the perfect part for you to get exactly what you want. I gave a story once about, actually I'll get to that story, but so no matter what you want, it doesn't matter what you want. For me, this mugshot, I've been looking for years and years to years to prove my story, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't find this news story. And suddenly I bring it up again, yesterday, I think it was, and all of a sudden it manifests so freaking quickly. And another thing is that's really interesting as far as how this all works. When I was this morning, when I found this comment and I was like, darn this guy, I was thinking, I wish I could talk to someone from back before that knew me, right? That's really what I was thinking. And interestingly enough, not a half hour later, on on Facebook Messenger, an old friend that I haven't seen in probably 7 years, back from New Jersey, that knew me when all this negative stuff was going on. He reached out to me out of nowhere, and we talked for a little while, reminisced on some old things, caught up randomly, and talked about, and he's the one that said, dude, you should just make a video on it. That's kind of funny. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. So shout out to Cheyenne, good friend of mine. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me earlier and prompting also me to do this. So just to wrap things up, there's a few key points here that are very important. People will play the role that you assign them, whether you like it or not. So if you do inadvertent imaginal acts, you can still expect for things to manifest your way. In my case, this time it's really kind of funny. It manifested in the form of a mugshot of myself that had been missing for nearly 5 years or something like that. The other thing is, no matter what it is that you want, you can simply plan it out, map out as if you already have it, imagine yourself as if you've already received it, and then let it go and watch how the universe conspires together to bring you the exact thing that you want. And it doesn't matter if you imagine it one singular time, as I did in this case, incidentally or accidentally, or if you deliberately do it time and time again. To manifest is something that we are born with the capability of doing so easily that we do it without even realizing it. So beware of what you think of. And so anyway, I hope this was helpful. I hope you got a little laugh out of it as well. I hope that it brings a little bit more proof to the story that you can truly manifest yourself. If you really care and really try, you can manifest yourself out of anything. Me personally, I've manifested myself out of addiction to drugs. I've manifested myself out of addiction to other substances, manifested myself out of trouble, manifested myself out of a very poor mental state, manifested myself out of poverty, manifested a successful business, and the list can actually go on and on. The whole key is to deliberately test everything. This concept of simple manifesting can be tested. You don't need to imagine, you don't need to believe anything. You simply write things down in a list. Write 10 per day as if you've already received something, such as 1, I've received a free cup of coffee. 2, an old friend messages me. 3, it rains for 5 minutes. If you do this each day, but don't check the list until a week later, right? But do this every day, don't check that list until a week later. You will watch how simple and easy it is to manifest any single thing that you want. And I know this goes against mainstream manifestation. I know this seems too good to be true, but watch how easy it is. And once you simply prove this to be true, you can manifest anything you want without struggling. You don't have to do anything special. You were born to do this. So listen. Thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you like this, if you want more systematic, broken down methods on how to manifest anything you want, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon together. If you like this, hit the like button so that what it does is allows other people who wouldn't normally be able to see this, and stay tuned for more. Thank you so much for watching.